Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. His compassions never fail. Good morning from South Korea. Here we are. This month we've been studying Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22. And in the first month we learned that it's because the Israelites were sent into captivity in Jerusalem that they were crying out to God for help. And they were remembering all of the good things that God had done for his people, that they were not consumed the way the city was consumed. Then Aaron and Beth, they talked about how God's love is so big it cannot possibly be measured. And then they talked about what it means to be consumed, how our sin will consume us. If our sin is on us when we die, instead of on the cross with Jesus, we will be forever consumed under God's anger at sin. Well, what is God's compassion? His compassions never fail is how we close off the verse. Well, compassion means to look at others with sympathy, to feel what others might be feeling, and to try and be helpful when people need help. And well, we see throughout the whole Bible that God is a very compassionate God. His compassions never fail. Well, there's lots of stories in the Old Testament, or in the New Testament, about how God, Jesus, is compassionate to the people around him. There's one story in a couple of the Gospels about a man who had leprosy, a horrible, debilitating skin disease where bits of you fall off because it's so horrible you stop feeling anything. And well, this man who was covered with leprosy, it says it was full of leprosy, he came up to Jesus and he said, "Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean." And Jesus looked at him and felt compassion for him. He felt sorry about his condition. Jesus' compassion went towards this man. And he reached out and he said, "I am willing." And he touched him, which is shocking for a man who's well to be touching a leper. That means you're automatically unclean, but not with Jesus. Because Jesus is the creator of the universe, because he is God, he reached out, and instead of making Jesus unclean, Jesus' perfect holiness made this leper, this unclean person, clean, and brought him back into community with the Jewish people, with the people of God, with Jesus. Jesus was compassionate towards this man. Jesus shows his love and compassion for us too on the cross. We don't get the wrath, the punishment, the anger from God that we deserve. We are not consumed because when we put our trust in Jesus and we understand that he paid the price for sin on the cross, we're not consumed. His compassion never fails. And he saves us. We're redeemed. We're saved in Jesus because of his compassion, because of his love. We are not consumed. Now, because God is compassionate with us, because of God's great love, we need to respond by being compassionate to others. What we're seeing all around the world now, you're seeing people protesting, you're seeing people crying out, saying that there's been great injustice from one group of people towards another just because of the color of people's skin. Well, partly this stems from, there's a lot of reasons, but partly it stems from a lack of compassion. So if we start reaching out and trying to understand where others are at and have compassion for people who are also created in God's image and understanding that they are loved by God, then the world might start to be a better place, and we'll be able to have opportunities to show people God's love and God's compassion, which never fails. Here's Rachel with the song.
Because of the Lord's great love, we're not consumed, we're not consumed. Because of the Lord's great love, we're not consumed. Because of the Lord's great love, we're not consumed, we're not consumed. gratitude.